Good morning and welcome to the Rehab Christian Center Sunday morning virtual experience. I'm Dr. Talley and it's good to see you and be with you on this great Labor Day weekend. I'm sure people are all over the place, but it's good to be back in the place this morning, and so grateful for your presence. Those of you that are already tuned in, grateful for your presence this morning, especially on this holiday weekend, and certainly praying that as you are out and about traveling, wherever you are doing whatever you're doing, that you are safe and well, and that you are enjoying yourself, especially those of us who don't get many breaks. Certainly praying that you are enjoying yourself and having a tremendous weekend. And so it's good to see you. It's good to be here on this great Labor Day. Listen, I got a Labor Day treat, and it's called a word. I got a word for you this morning on boundaries that is going to be incredible. And I'm excited on this Super Sunday, this Super Seed Sunday, to share with you just this awesome word on boundaries. And I cannot wait to share it with you. And so let's get into it. I want to go through the networks really quickly. I try to promise every week to be finished on time, and that never seems to work out well. But it is my goal to finish us on time today so that I do not hold up the other things that I also have going on. And so I want you to go ahead and start liking, sharing this video quickly. Whatever channel that you're on, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I want you to go ahead and start liking this video, sharing it very quickly so that we can get going and get right into the word on today. All right. But it's so good to see you virtually. And again, praying that your week has been great, that your weekend has been going well, and really excited to get into this word. So let's do it. Facebook, good morning to you. It's good to see you virtually. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you that are tuned in via Facebook, if you would do me a favor, hit that like button. If you really like the broadcast, hold it down, turn it to a love button. Then I want you to hit that share button, hit that @ symbol. I'm giving you a lot of commands. Hit that @ symbol, and then tag 5 people and tell them to tune in this morning. Would you do that? Again, hit that @ symbol if you're on Facebook. Tag 5 people, tell them to tune in this morning. Very powerful word on boundaries that's going to bless you. And I'm excited to share this word with you. It's going to be a tremendous word. So thank you so much, Facebook, those of you that are tuned in. Instagram, good morning to you. Instagram folks are always late. They are late routinely or right on time late this morning. But it's good to see those of you that are already tuned in on Instagram. If you're there, fill it up with hearts. And then also hit that @ symbol if you're on Instagram and tag 5 of your friends, your followers. Tell them to tune in this morning. Very powerful word that we're going to share. And I'm grateful to have you tuned in via Instagram, those that are already on. And I know more people are starting to come on Instagram. Again, Instagram's my late church, but they'll be there. But good morning to those of you that are tuned in. And again, hit the heart symbol. Let me know that you're in. Hit that @ symbol, tag 5 people, tell them to tune in. And let's get ready to get going on this morning. All right. So good morning to you, Instagram, YouTube. Good morning to you. Good to see you virtually. Those of you that are tuned in via YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that ASAP. Got a really good idea this week from someone who asked me to go through our YouTube channel and try to create playlists and group, especially our series together. And so I'm going to be working on that probably today and tomorrow, doing a little bit of work on that and try to get all of our series grouped on YouTube. So those of you that want to go back and take a look at any of the series that we've taught, especially during the 15, 16 odd months that we've been strictly virtual, you'll be able to go to YouTube and see the playlist according to the series. And you can watch all of those series, binge watch those series, just as you're binge watching clickbait on Netflix. All right, be able to binge watch the series and catch up on all the things that we've taught. So I'm going to get to work on that. I promise I have that prepared for you this week. It's a lot of videos and a lot to comb through. And we've got a lot of content out there. And so YouTube is a very valuable resource for us. And those of you that are interested in going back to the archives of what we've taught. But good morning, YouTube. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I want you to do that quickly. Hit the @ symbol, or rather go to YouTube in the search bar and type The Rehab CC. The Rehab CC, and you can find us there. Subscribe to our channel, hit that bell notification so that you can be notified when we are live. And you can, of course, go back and see all of the videos that messages that we've taped in the past. So good morning to you, YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, y'all, I got 9:13 I got to get ready to do that declaration. Again, I knew it was going to be a slow morning this morning, but I did not want to pre-record today. I've got such a special word on boundaries. And so I need y'all to start tagging people now. Let's wake people up. Let's get them out of bed. A lot of people saw on social media, y'all at the beach and just having a great time. And I hope you are. Y'all know I believe in balance. But I hope you are really enjoying yourself. And many of you are getting some rest this weekend, well-deserved rest. Now, if you ain't working, you don't want, let me take that back. If you don't want to work, no job, nowhere, you don't need to take no Labor Day off. You need to take tomorrow and fill out applications. All right. If you ain't trying to work nowhere and being lazy, you don't deserve to be at nobody's cookout. You need to be filling out applications. But those of you that desire to work, if you're not working, or those of you that do work, please take some time this weekend, tomorrow, to just relax and enjoy yourself. I plan to do it at some point, but frankly, I got just a lot of work and a lot of things that I'm working on, and I've got to get it done. And so an off day from my 9 to 5 is really an on day for my personal things. And so I've got a lot to get done, but I want you all to enjoy your time off. Take some time for yourself, your families, your friends, whoever you want to give that time to, and enjoy yourself. All right. Y'all start tagging people. I need you to do it. I need to see more tags in the comments. You just start tagging people now. Tell them to get up. Doesn't matter where they are. They can tune in. That's the beautiful thing about this virtual experience. They can tune in from wherever they are. Tell them to get up. Let's get ready to walk through the declaration. And I'm excited about declaration, but more than that, man, what a powerful word I've got for you today on boundaries. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be special. And I can't wait to share it with you. All right, let's go through it. All right, let's go through the declaration. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time that don't know, we do our declaration every Sunday. It talks about the acronym that is REHAB and what it means and what it stands for, and is in essence the 5 pillars by which this ministry was created. And so we believe in the power of the things that we say, the things that we repeat. And so I'm going to walk you through the declaration. I'll say it slowly and pause so that you can repeat after me, and you can be empowered through this declaration this morning. All right, say it with me. Restore. We declare that everything that is broken, lost, hurt, or destroyed that belongs to us and has been designed by God is restored. My faith is restored. My joy is restored. My mind is restored. Even my lost time is restored. I am no longer broken. The fact that I'm alive means I have another chance. My faith has restored me, and right now, His love is making me whole. Evangelize. Say it with me. We declare that God helped us so we can help somebody else. He loved me when I was unlovable. He changed me when I was a mess. His love lifted me when I was down. I'm not perfect, but I'm free. And anything that came for me can't keep me. Because I'm free, my circle is next. My family is saved. My friends are blessed. My plans are successful. My goals are ahead of schedule. And anything connected to me is blessed just like me. Hope. Say it with me. We declare that everything that is missing is not lost. In Jesus, I have hope. And this hope makes me confident. It doesn't matter what happens to me or around me. I'm going to win. My relationships are winning. My goals are winning. My family is winning. My neighbor is winning. This city will win, and my row has the victory. My past is defeated, and my future is brighter today than it was yesterday. Alternatives. Say it with me. We declare that God made us different. I'm a royal child, the light of the world, and the hope of my city. I respect the past, but I don't look like what I've been through. I love the church, and my life is balanced. I love coming to church, but I like flights, boats, and vacations. My whole life is blessed. I am the head and not the tail. I am above and not beneath. I am a lender and not a borrower. And every place I go belongs to me. Breakthrough. Say it with me. We declare that God has a breakthrough with our name on it. I have some challenges, but I am not defeated. No weapon formed against me can prosper. And I know that all things are working together for my good. Things are not breaking down. They're about to break through. There is a breakthrough in my career. There is a breakthrough in my home. There is a breakthrough in my health. There is a breakthrough in my finances. I am here on purpose, for a purpose, and everything that went wrong is getting ready to turn around. Did you make that declaration with me this morning? I tell you, I'm fired up. This is going to be a powerful word. If you made that declaration with me this morning, I want you to type in the comments now. It's already done. Would you do that? It's already done. It's already done. God is literally putting the final touches on the masterpiece that is your life. And he's making some things happen. Y'all, guess what? We only have September, October, November, December. We got 4 more months in this year. But I'm here to tell you, I feel just as good today as I did January 1st about everything that God promised for my life, that everything God promised to make happen in my life. I feel just as good about it today as I did January 1st. In fact, I feel better about it today than I did January 1st. I want you to declare in the comments this morning, it's already done. God is going to come through for his word, in his word, or with his word. He's going to come through. And I just need you to believe it. I need you to stand on it. I need you to know that everything that God has promised you, in fact, is going to happen for you. It's already done. Good. I'm seeing comments on Facebook, YouTube. It's already done. Look at this. So many people declaring that, making that declaration this morning. It's already done. And I want you to do that. I want you to do that. As you're doing that, go ahead and tag 5 people if you have not already. Doesn't matter what network you're on, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I want you to tag 5 people and tell them to tune in this morning. We're getting ready to start from the message boundaries. All right, boundaries. All right, go ahead and type in the subject in the comments now. Boundaries. That's what we're going to deal with this morning. I'm telling you, this is going to be a very powerful message, and it always happens like this. And I didn't plan this message per se on the holiday. I wasn't thinking about the holiday when this message was really dropped to me. Wasn't even thinking about the holiday, but it's so crazy. And anytime we have holidays or lower Sundays where people are traveling and out, the word is always dynamite. And I'm telling you, today about to be the same thing. I cannot wait to teach this today. Boundaries. That's what we're going to deal with. Boundaries. I want you to put it in the comments now. Boundaries. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to be in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verses 14 through 15. All right. That's just going to be the reference point. I'm kind of going to be jumping all over the place today. But for those of you traditional folks that need a reference point, I'm going to read 2 verses in Joshua, chapter 24, verse 14 through 15. And I'll be in the King James Version. All right. So I'm extra churchy today. All right. Joshua, chapter 24, verse 14 through 15. And I'm in the King James Version. And so I want you to go ahead and do that. Put up on the screen boundaries. Go ahead and put in the comments boundaries. That's what we're going to deal with today. And again, remember, it's Super Sunday. And so I want to challenge all of you today. If this message, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you today to remember your Super Sunday seed in addition to your tithing and giving, and watch God continue to bless you as he always has. All right. Boundaries. Let's deal with this. Joshua chapter 24, verse 14 through 15. I'm in the King James Version, and it's about to get really good in here. All right. Look at this. Verse 14 says, now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers have served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. Look at verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. Here we go. Here's the boundary line. I never saw this verse in the context of boundaries. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So what Joshua's saying is, don't matter what's going on out there. Doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. Doesn't matter where everybody else's focus is. It doesn't matter what's on everybody else's plate. What is everybody else's priority? None of that stuff matters. Joshua says, as for me and my house, he draws a boundary. He draws a line, a proverbial line in the sand, and says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. This is powerful because I promise you, I never saw this verse in the context of boundaries, right? I never saw this verse in the context of boundaries, but it makes sense because the easiest way to identify where to set a boundary is to look for where the devil is present. This is your first PowerPoint. The easiest way to find where to set a boundary is to look for where the devil is present. Anywhere the devil is present in your life, that's where a boundary belongs. Anywhere you see a devil, a demon, something negative in your life present, anywhere you see that, that's where a boundary belongs. If you want to know where to put boundaries in your life, look for the devil in your life. Wherever the devil is, that's where a boundary belongs. If he's attacking your mind, you need to put boundaries up around your thinking and the things that you think. If he's attacking your finances, you need to put up boundaries in your finances and boundaries within your spending. If he's attacking your relationships, you need to put up some boundaries in your relationships, your friendship. The easiest way to determine where to set the boundary is to look for where the devil is present. How do we know this? Because when you don't have boundaries, things grow wild, right? When you don't have boundaries, things go wild. Think about a fence. Think about a fence. A fence that surrounds a yard really, in essence, has two purposes. One, the first purpose is really decorative, right? You know, the fence is out there to decorate the yard and to give it an appearance, some kind of appearance, depending on the fence, some type of appearance. The second and most important purpose of that fence is to keep things on the outside from coming in. Watch. And to keep things on the inside from going out. To keep things from the outside coming in and to keep the things that are on the inside from going out. So anytime you put boundaries in your life, what you are in essence trying to do is not only decorate or surround or cover your life, right? That's the first thing it does. You're not only trying to cover your life, but you are making an intentional effort to keep things that don't belong in your life out of your life. And you are also making an intentional effort to make sure that you don't go beyond certain spaces outside of the confines of where your life belongs. That's what a boundary does. And I'm here to tell you, some devils are running wild in your life right now because you have no standards. You have no boundaries. You have no proverbial fences up in your life that's keeping things that don't belong in your life out of your life. See, when I work with people, whether it is, spiritual counseling, personal professional coaching that I do in my everyday 9 to 5, whatever, when I'm talking to people who are coming to me and saying, Pastor, Dr. Zeb, whatever, my life is all over the place. I have no sense of control. typically 9 times out of 10, the very first thing we deal with is how they set boundaries in their life. Because an out of control life is almost always a reflection of no boundaries. If your life feels like it's out of control, I'm here to tell you, I can almost promise you, you don't have enough boundaries. You don't. If your life feels like it's out of order and things are all over the place and you can't breathe from one second to the next, you're one of those, if it ain't one thing, it's another kind of people. You don't have boundaries. You do not have boundaries, and you have to reset boundaries. Devils will run wild in your life because there are no standards there. Everything's okay to you. You're an open book. You allow everything. No, you have to literally learn how to control your life and your sanity and your peace by setting boundaries. And there are easy ways that we can do it. And I'm going to give you 6 ways you can reset your boundaries in just a second. But let me just say this. Sometimes you have to create boundaries in your life to create respect in your life. I'm going to say this again because I'm dropping nuggets on this low Sunday. Y'all better catch it. Sometimes you have to create boundaries in your life to create respect in your life. I saw a post, I don't know if it was this week or if it was the week before. I think it was the week before. And it was by J.J. Harrison. It was a powerful post where he was talking about, his example was in the spiritual world more, where he said something to the extent of most of the people that you broing and you sissing, right? SISBRO. Most of the people that you broing and that you sissing are people you need to be saying ma'am and sir to. And his point was that sometimes when we have access to people, we forget the influence that they really have in our lives and really the assignment that they have for our lives. And sometimes people will minimize the assignment because they have access. And the easiest way to reset the dynamics between you and those people is to set boundaries. It's just simply to set boundaries. Because when people get too comfortable with you, they'll forget the assignment that you have for their lives. I'm trying to help somebody today. Let me give you the easiest example. Let's take church out of it. Let me give you the easiest example that I can think of that will help make this make sense. If you are a manager or a supervisor, right? If you manage or supervise people in your job, in your 9 to 5, if you manage people, supervise people, the worst mistake you can make as a manager and a supervisor, the worst mistake that you can make as a manager and a supervisor is hanging out with your employees every day. Why? Because while you might be attempting to build friendship and camaraderie, you might be attempting to get to know them on an interpersonal level and vice versa. What will happen is your supervisory influence will be watered down because you have extended the limits of your access. Now, I'm not suggesting you have to stay in your office and shut the door and don't let anybody come in unless they set an appointment, and you don't talk to your employees ever and don't ever go out to lunch with them. I'm not suggesting that. But I'm saying if you do that every day, if every single day y'all hang out, every single day y'all going to lunch, every single day y'all going to dinner, happy hour, every single day y'all are doing that, I'm here to tell you, eventually you're going to water down the impact of your influence because you have overextended your access. This is what boundaries are for. Because sometimes in some dynamics, whether it's working dynamics, spiritual dynamics, you reset respect by drawing boundaries, by redrawing boundaries. You reset respect. One of the things during this pandemic that has really hit me, and I can say that I don't mind confessing this, I'll put my life out there in front of the street so y'all don't feel like I'm coming at y'all. One of the things that I realized in this pandemic that has really prepared me for when we open back up in a modified way, and I hope to have some information for you soon, very soon. The numbers keep rising, and it's just, yeah, I hope to have some information for you very soon, I promise. But one of the things that has really hit me during this pandemic is this. While out, always been a cool and a laid back and an easy to talk to pastor, somebody that can relate to anybody on any level. I had people hitting me up because me and my son put birthday song up on my post and on all my social media, and we were bopping the birthday song, and people were hitting me up, with laughing emojis or whatever. But I got several people that reached out that said, you've got to be one of the coolest laid back pastors I've ever seen or known. And that's great and nice and all of that stuff. And I appreciate it. And that's always been an approach that I've had. Being personable has always helped me. But one thing that has convicted me over the pandemic, I'll talk about me. One thing that's convicted me about the pandemic is that, Zeb, when you get back in the building, you really have to make sure that you have redrawn the lines, the boundary lines, even in your life. Because sometimes when people think they're so cool with you, they forget the influence that you have on their lives. They forget the assignment. They forget the reason you're in their lives. The reality is, for most of you, I'm not in your life to be cool with you. That's just a fact. I'm not in your life to be cool with you. I'm not in your life to be liked by you. I'm not in your life to be your BFF or your big bro. I'm not. That's just the reality, right? What I am in your life for is to influence your life and to help your life get better. And my assignment, my main assignment, always has been and always will be to give you the tools necessary so that you can grow spiritually, period. That's my assignment. And see, sometimes the assignment, teach Zeb, you're teaching amazing. Sometimes the assignment lines get blurred because we have access. And people sometimes think they have extraordinary permission when they have extraordinary access. And that ain't true. That's not true. Just because you got my number doesn't make me your bro, right? And I'm not just talking about me. I'm just talking about in general. Just because they got your number doesn't mean that they're your sis, right? Access, permission, two totally different things. You can have access to something without having permission to something. And so I always have to credit, when I think about this, I think about my mother, Brenda, who really corrected me. Mother Brenda really corrected me and pulled me to the side one Sunday and said, hey, Pastor, I know you love the people. I don't think the people question that you love them, but do me a favor. When some services are over, get your stuff and go in your office. And she said it just like that. She didn't cut a smile. She was straightforward and candid. And I looked at her in the face and said, yes, ma'am. Out of respect for her as a mother in our church, I looked her right in the face and said, yes, ma'am. And I really have been thinking about that since we've been out in this pandemic, because again, I never want the influence that I can have on people's lives to be watered down because they have access or because I'm cool and I'm easy to talk to. That's great. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. But my main assignment is to give you what you need so your life can be better. And so sometimes we have to create boundaries just to redraw lines of respect, right? You just have to do that, right? And it's so very important. Yeah, I like that, Uzo. I love Brother Uzo and doing so very well in the music industry. So very proud of him. All right, so listen, let me give you this. Let me give you 6 ways to reset boundaries in your life. All right, and then I'm done. Pastor's going to try to get us out by 10:15, 10:20 on Labor Day Sunday. For those of you that's got your feet kicked up at the beach and all of this stuff. All right, Pastor's going to try to get us out of here. All right, but let me give you 6 ways to reset boundaries in your life. All right, 6 ways. There are 6 easy ways you can reset boundaries in your life. And I want you to get ready to record these ways. All right, you're going to be the smartest person on your job Tuesday when you go back to work. All right, 6 ways to reset boundaries in your life. Way number 1, you ready? It's this. Way number 1 is this. Recognize the traps of generational curses. This is about to get good right here. Recognize the traps of generational curses. The number 1 way, fastest way, quick way. I necessarily can't say it's the fastest way, but a quick way to recognize at least that there's a need to reset boundaries in your life is to recognize the traps of generational curses. I don't care what you say. I don't care who you are and where you come from. There's an assignment on your last name. Don't you ever forget it. There is an assignment on your last name. You need to know this today. I don't care who you are and where you come from. There is an assignment on your last name. The devil literally has an assignment on your last name, and you should never minimize the impact of generational curses. And so when it comes to resetting boundaries in your life, the number one way to help reset it is to recognize the traps of generational curses. Think about your family. Think about the things that you've had to overcome in your life, the temptations you've had to overcome in your life, the challenges you've had to overcome in your life, the circumstances to an extent that you've had to overcome in your life. And I can almost guarantee you that typically the temptations, the trials, the curses, the hard times, the difficulties, typically those things are connected to the curse that's on your last name. They're related somehow, some way to the curse, to the challenge that's on your last name, right? And we can go through lineage, right? Abraham, right? Think about Jesus. The Bible, records really explicitly that Jesus then goes through, there are really 42 generations that occur before Jesus comes on the scene, right? So before Jesus comes on the scene, New Testament, I don't want to get into this too deeply, but let me just give you a little bit. Before Jesus comes on the scene, there are 42 generations that happen before he comes. So if you go all the way back, and I'm obviously not going to go through all 42, but just think about some of the characters that were in his generation. Abraham had trust issues, didn't even believe in God. He believed in God, but believed in him to an extent. When God tells him, I'm going to make you a father of many nations, and he's like, I'm too old to have kids. I can't have kids. My wife is old. We're not even doing it like that. Ain't no way we can have kids. So Abraham had trust issues. Jacob was sneaky. He was sneaky. He was a con artist, right? These are all people that were in the lineage of Jesus Christ. Judah committed incest, right? If you want to read a story that will make your skin crawl, go in the Old Testament and read the story of Judah and Tamar, right? Tamar, who played a prostitute to secure seed. Judah commits incest. These are all people that were related to Jesus Christ. Now, we think Jesus Christ, oh, I love Jesus, and we don't think about the generations that came before him that were a part of his bloodline. Rahab, part of Jesus' bloodline. Rahab was a hoe, prostitute, ran a whole house, connected to Jesus, right? David, we know David. Everybody knows King David, the great ruler, the great fighter, the great king. We know David for that glamour, but we also have to remember that David took another man's wife, killed the man, then tried to hide it, right? Had all of these issues. Bathsheba, who David took, beautiful, easy to manipulate, right? Was a part of the whole game too with it. Solomon, wise, had all this information, all of this knowledge, the wisest person to walk on the earth, but had hundreds of wives. He could not turn down the ladies. Like all of these people connected to Jesus in his lineage is a reminder to us that there are traps on our last name if we're not careful. And so we sometimes have to draw boundaries based on the experiences that have impacted our last name. Now, I'm going to say this to y'all, and I hope I'm not being too heavy with y'all this morning, but I want to say this to you all, and especially, I don't know if this is a race thing, but it may not be a race thing, but I'm just going to say especially Black people, especially. Let me say this to y'all. You better get to learn your family lineage. Get to learn your family lineage. Get to learn where you came from, where your parents came from, where your parents' parents came from, where your parents' parents came from. Get to learn your family lineage, because I'm going to tell some of y'all, this is going to shock some of you. Some of the challenges y'all have right now is a direct result of who you're connected to. I'm not talking about your friends. I'm talking about family, where you came from. If you believe in generational curses, then you also must believe that a lot of the challenges and issues that you have come from the assignment that the devil has put on your last name. Come on. If you think about it, you can look at how many of you know that you can look at certain families, and certain families, the people in the families all have the same problems? Have you all ever noticed that sometimes you can look at certain families and the people in certain families all have the same problems? They all have the same challenges. They all have the same issues. That's not accidental. The reason why you see some of the same challenges and issues in a family is because there has been an assignment on that family's last name regarding those issues, right? And it can be a variety of things. I'm not going to start naming issues because, again, one thing ain't bigger than the other. I'm just making the point, and that is that sometimes when it comes to generational curses, we need not go further than just explore the lineage of our families to know where our challenges are going to come, right? And this is why I'm even with my kids, and I'm blessed. My father celebrated a birthday on yesterday, and my sister the day before that. September is the birthday month. But I'm really, I'm blessed because my parents have been very candid with me about experiences in their lives, experiences in the lives of their parents. And so, when I deal with certain things in my life, it doesn't surprise me because I know where I came from. But more than that, I try to be very conscious of this when dealing with my children, and be very candid with them about certain things, because if you're a parent, especially if you're a parent of small kids, you can already begin to see. I was telling somebody this week who was complimenting my son, and gave him some compliments. We put up some stories on one of my posts, and my son is just a fool. He is hilarious. Now, I wish I had his comedy. I wish I was funny. Like, I'm corny funny. He's funny. My son is funny. He's a charmer. And somebody, sent me an inbox, was like, your son is a mess. They didn't mean it in a bad way, but they meant it to go, he's a mess. He's a charmer. Seems like a really cool kid. And I replied back and said, thank you. I really appreciate that. But it got me to thinking, like, that's great and all, but I know the challenges that come with being a charmer. I know the challenges that come with having high energy. I know the challenges that come with being an intellect. I know the challenges that come with being a person who has appeal. And so we have to be very careful here. If you know there have been challenges on your family's last name in certain areas, and you're mindful of that, then sometimes you got to be proactive and put a boundary around it, right? If the challenges have been in how y'all deal with relationships, put some boundaries up in how you manage relationships. The challenges have been in how your family is dealt with money historically, financially, and you know this, start putting up boundaries in your finances and how you spend so that you can reset, the generational curse for the generations that come after you, right? And so this is very important. Understand the traps of generational curses, and talk to your family, y'all, about where you come from. Now, again, I use Black folk for this because Black folk get real uncomfortable. We get real uncomfortable asking our parents and grandparents questions because it's family. I think it was family reunion season. My seasons are all mixed up. I guess family reunion time has passed because we're in the fall now. But you go to family reunions. We get real uncomfortable asking questions about Uncle such and such and Aunt such and such, because when you get to asking questions, you find out you might have a first cousin somewhere you ain't even know you had. Right? You start uncovering all kinds of stuff. But this is important because, again, you want to know where the potential traps, where the potential curses may lie as it relates to your family and as it relates to your generation and the generations that will come after you. All right. So way number one to reset boundaries in your life, recognize the traps of generational curses. All right. Way number two, record this. Identify the root of your dysfunction. Identify the root of your dysfunction. I'm giving you 6 ways to reset boundaries in your life. Identify the root of your dysfunction. I'm going to explain this. Identify the root of your dysfunction. What do you mean, Pastor? I mean this. that sometimes when it comes to setting boundaries in our lives, we only deal with surface stuff and we don't go deeper. Think onion. Think an onion. If you think about your life and think about the things in your life that are not going well, it is safe to identify what you see and begin to attack that. Okay? It's safe to identify what you see and begin to attack that. It becomes more challenging to start peeling back what you see, to get under the surface of what you see, to see what the real problem is, right? In other words, we see things like being stressed out, right? Somebody's stressed out. We see that as being a problem. But a lot of times we don't go deeper than stress to figure out why the stress is there. What's causing the anxiety? What's causing the stress? When you get to the cause of the stress, you don't just deal with surface level stuff, right? Surface level stuff is, you're stressed out, you get moody. You got anxiety, you might be sometiming. You're stressed out, you may not want to deal with people, so you may want to sleep all day, right? That's surface stuff. But when you get to what's causing that, i.e., I don't like my job, right? I can't stand my job. I can't stand where I work, can't stand the people I work with. When you start addressing that, you not only deal with the symptoms, can't sleep, sometimey, moody, blah, blah, blah. When you start dealing with the cause, then you really address the real problem. And that not only takes the anxiety away, it takes the problem away. And see, we tend to be dysfunctional because we never deal with the cause or the root. We only deal with the symptoms. I'm trying to help y'all today. We only deal with the symptoms. What you have to do is you have to dig down to the root or the cause of the problem and then put some boundaries, not around the symptoms. Well, I'm stressed out, and my sleep is all off, so I'm going to start going to bed early. You might get some extra sleep, but chances are, if you still got anxiety, you still going to wake up at night. Like you ain't going to sleep through the night. That's not going to fix the problem. So you don't put boundaries around you getting more rest by going to bed earlier. That ain't going to fix it. You put a boundary around your work situation, your work environment. What can you do in your work environment to make you feel better about where you work so that you then in turn correct the anxiety, you correct the anxiousness, you correct the stress, right? So we've got to put boundaries around the root of the dysfunction. Don't put boundaries on the cause, right? This is so important. If y'all don't remember anything I say today, I want you to remember this. Don't put boundaries around the symptom. Put boundaries around the cause. Put boundaries around the root. Don't put boundaries around being stressed out and moody and sometimey. Don't do that, because it don't matter how much you fix that. You'll feel good for a second. Then tomorrow you're going to feel bad again. That's how people end up stressed out. That's how people end up on medication, because they only treat symptoms and not causes. You got to put a boundary on the cause. Whatever it is that's causing you to be stressed, whatever it is that's causing you to have anxiety, put a boundary around that. And then you will see things that are dysfunctional get better. For instance, pettiness is a major dysfunction. I had to pray this week, keep myself from just being petty. Sometimes, and I've done so much better. I'm talking about me because I don't want nobody else to get mad. But boy, let me tell you something. I have grown in that pettiness space because I could have a PhD in being petty. I could have a PhD in taunting people. I can't. I'm just being honest about me. Talking about me now, but I have a PhD in all of that stuff. But I've discovered something, that when people are petty, they're dysfunctional, because pettiness is dysfunction. It is. I don't care what you say. Pettiness is dysfunction. But just stopping yourself from making smart remarks about people or making smart comments about people or getting back at people is not fixing the issue. That doesn't fix pettiness. What you have to fix is the underlying cause or the pain that causes the sarcasm. Because I've discovered that people who operate in major pettiness are really deep down in pain. I'm trying to help y'all. Deep down inside, they're really in pain. And so you just trying to treat the pettiness ain't going to change nothing. You got to treat the pain. If you treat the pain, then it'll change your pettiness, right? So we have to make sure that we deal with the root of our dysfunction. And the way we deal with the root of our dysfunction is we first identify it, and then we put a boundary around it. All right. Is this making sense? Way number 3. I'm moving, y'all. I promise y'all, I'm going to make this 10:15, 10:20 mark somehow, some way. I'm so proud of myself in advance, somehow. Way number 3. The third way to reset boundaries in your life is this. You ready? Learn to be okay with rejection. Learn how to be okay with rejection. If you want to reset boundaries in your life, learn how to be okay being rejected. Psalms 18, verse 17 through 23, New Living Translation. I'm going to read this. It's worth it. Psalms 18, verse 17 through 23, New Living Translation, is a verse that I want the moderators to put that up. Psalms 118, verse 17 through 23, New Living Translation. For all of you that have ever had to deal with rejection of any form, this is a segment of verses that will bless your entire life and change the way you see rejection. Anytime I've ever had to deal with rejection in my life, Psalms 118 has been my go-to. Look at this. You got to learn, if you want to reset boundaries in your life, learn to be okay being rejected. Look at this. Psalms 118, verse 17 through 23 says this. Verse 17, I will not die. Instead, I will live to tell what the Lord has done. The Lord has punished me severely, but he did not let me die. Verse 19, open for me the gates where the righteous enter, and I will go in and thank the Lord. Verse 20, these gates lead to the presence of the Lord, and the godly enter there. Verse 21, I thank you for answering my prayer and giving me victory. So you reminded me that I ain't going to die, but I'm going to live to be able to tell what you've done for me. I've admitted that you've had to punish me for some stuff because everything that happened to me wasn't everybody else's fault. Some of it was my fault. That's a different word for a different day. That's for those of you that love to play the victim. Because unfortunately, society and especially social media has made playing the victim very easy. But if you're going to be a grown-up in this season, you got to learn how to admit your part in stuff. I'm preaching better than y'all saying amen. You got to learn how to admit your part in stuff. So look at this. Verse 22. This is the kicker. The stone that the builders has rejected has now become the cornerstone. Verse 23. This is the Lord's doing. Hold on. Verse 22. The stone that the let me lower my voice. Hold on, let me lower my voice. Verse 22. The stone that the builders rejected has now become the chief cornerstone. But look at verse 23. And this rejection, this is the Lord's doing. And it is marvelous in our eyes. We repeat that verse in church. This is the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in our eyes. And you know what? We tend to, Dad, I never saw this verse in this context until I was studying it again this week. Wait a minute. Typically in church, when people say this is the Lord's doing and it's marvelous in our eyes, you know what they're referring to? We got a new building. We got 500 people. I got a brand new car. I just got married. I got a man. I got a woman. I just got a brand new job. I just, built a brand new house. This is the Lord's doing and it's marvelous in our eyes. That ain't even the context of this verse. Psalms 118, y'all. I'm in the book. Psalms 118, 17 through 23. That's not the context of that phrase. This is the Lord's doing and it's marvelous in our eyes. And I've been guilty. I've done it just like any other church person who's grown up in the church. I've done it. This is the Lord's doing. That's not what this verse is talking about. This verse is talking about rejection. Because right before David makes this proclamation, this is the Lord's doing and it's marvelous in our eyes, what does he tell you? That the stone that the builders rejected, the very stone that the builders didn't want, became the chief cornerstone. I.e., that sometimes rejection is not only the Lord's doing, but it's a good thing to say. I'm trying to help y'all today. Listen, I want you to record this. If you will allow it, rejection is the greatest way to have a turnaround in your life. If you will allow it, rejection is sometimes the greatest way to see a turnaround in your life. If you will allow it, that's very important, because some of us don't want to be rejected, and we're going to fight the rejection. You ain't going to reject me. You ain't going to reject this. You're going to, If you will allow it, rejection sometimes serves as a point to the greatest turnaround in your life. So you will then be positioned to say, y'all rejected me. This rejected me. That rejected me. But I've become the chief cornerstone. And look, this is the Lord's doing. And it's marvelous in our eyes. Does this make sense to anybody? You will never look at that phrase again the same. Y'all stop counting that phrase up. Now, look, if you want to say that to a blessing, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you how to give thanks and gratitude to God. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. If God blesses you and you want to say this is marvelous in his eyes, great. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to encourage you not to do that. But I'm also saying to you that if you will allow it, this verse is also a reminder that the things that reject you can sometimes turn around to be the impetus for some of the greatest breakthroughs in your life. And that phrase then takes a totally different meaning when you've been rejected, but then you come out on top. And then you can say, wow, all of this happened for me. They counted me out. This circle counted me out. They didn't want to have nothing to do with me. These people walked away from me. These people left me for dead. These people said I wouldn't bounce back. But you come back and you come back stronger than you ever been. Then when you say, this is the Lord's doing and it's marvelous in his eyes, it's a totally different perspective. It's a totally different feeling to the verse. Does this make sense to anybody at all? All right. And so if you will allow it, rejection can be an amazing thing. But the thing is, you have to be willing to allow it. You have to embrace rejection. You have to embrace abandonment. You have to embrace being left for dead. You have to. Being turned away from, being left behind. These things can destroy you if you let it. I'm a living witness that when people reject you, when situations reject you, when you feel abandoned, when you feel walked away from, counted out, people quit, people not interested, when all of that stuff happens to you in any area of your life, it's easy to let that stuff destroy you. But I'm here to tell you, rejection and abandonment sometimes creates a bed for one of the biggest breakthroughs of your entire life. It does. So you have to embrace that. Be okay with the rejection. As you are okay with rejection, you are actually building boundaries around you. And gosh, I almost feel like I need a part 2 for this. I may teach a little bit on this Tuesday. Almost feel like I need a part 2 for this. But just hear me. As you become okay with rejection, you are actually inadvertently drawing new boundaries in your life. You're drawing new boundaries in your life as you become okay with the things that reject you. As you begin to embrace the things that reject you, you are actually starting to create new boundaries in your life. How? Because you are now at a place where you can admit that the stuff that used to bother you, that used to make you quit, that used to make you give up, that would make you question your worth, question your self-esteem, question your self-confidence, question your abilities, question your capabilities, question everything about, question your calling, question your purpose. Some of us have questioned all kinds of things about us because of how we were rejected, how we were abandoned, how we were literally left for dead. I'm telling y'all, in this pandemic, y'all, a lot of things left me for dead. And it's easy for you to begin to question yourself because of how people handled you. But let me tell you something. The minute you begin to look at rejection as an opportunity for God to say, this is the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in my eyes, as an opportunity for it to be one of the greatest breakthroughs of your life, I'm here to tell you, you are inadvertently putting boundaries on the things or around the things that used to bother you. And you will look back at it and find yourself saying, wow, that really had me upset, but it was really one of the greatest breakthroughs of my life. That really broke me up, but it really turned out to be one of the greatest blessings of my life. Them quitting on my vision really kind of messed my head up, but it turned out to be one of the greatest blessings of my life. That's how you know you are creating new boundaries in your life. That's how you know you are drawing new boundaries in your life. And that's an easy way to reset boundaries. You can reset boundaries by learning how to be okay when things reject you, when things quit on you, when things walk out on you. You can learn how to reset your boundaries by learning how to be okay in that space. And the minute you get okay in that space, I'm telling you, you're going to find yourself more days than not. When you feel disappointed, when you feel rejected, when you feel abandoned, when you feel left out, more days than not, instead of crying, pouting, worrying, wondering, all of that stuff, you're going to find yourself saying, wow, this is the Lord's doing. Like what they did was actually the Lord's doing. And it's marvelous in my eyes. How I was counted out was actually the Lord's doing. And it's marvelous in my eyes. Like, this is perfect, right? Your perspective is going to change in a major, major way. All right. This making sense, y'all? Way number 4. I'm almost done. I got to hurry because I'm not going to go back on my word today. I'm so grateful for those of you that have tuned in this Labor Day weekend, this Super Sunday, I'm so grateful for all of you that have tuned in. Don't hesitate to sow your Super Sunday seed. You know, we do it every first Sunday, $99 seed, but we also give our tithes and offering as well. So don't hesitate to do that. But thank you so much to those of you that have just paused your Labor Day weekend to tune in. This really means a lot to me. Holidays. And again, you all know I'm a pastor of balance. We're a church of balance. I believe in that. And this pandemic has really reminded me of the importance of balance. But I'm so grateful for those of you that have tuned in. Thank you so much for doing that. Way number 4, the 4th way, y'all, to reset your boundaries. You ready for this? Know that you are not called to save anybody but yourself. I ain't even got time to deal with this one like I want to. Way number 4, the 4th way to reset boundaries in your life is to recognize that you are not called to save nobody but yourself. This is going to be good. Recognize that you are not called to save anybody but yourself. You need Bible for this? Acts chapter 2, verse 37 through 40, New Living Translation. I won't read it. Acts chapter 2, verse 37 through 40 in the New Living Translation. I won't read it, but it's a powerful message that Peter is giving. Peter is giving this powerful message in Acts chapter 2. If you know anything about Acts chapter 2, you know what's going on in Acts chapter 2, where the power of the Holy Ghost falls down in Acts 2 and 38. And Peter's giving this powerful sermon in Acts chapter 2, but he concludes it when he tells them to repent and turn away from their sins. Acts 2 and 38. Y'all know Acts 2 and 38. If you apostolic, you know Acts 2 and 38. All right. He tells them to repent, turn away from their sins, and you'll receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. Right. But then he says, then the promise is not just to you, but it's to your children and to everybody connected to you, whether they're close or far off. And then he says, but remember this, while it is promised to your kids. I love context because context makes you a good teacher. He says, I think it's in verse 39, where he says it's promised to your kids and to your grandkids and to anybody connected to you. But then in verse number 40, he says, while it's promised to your kids and promised to everybody else, understand this. Save yourself. Save yourself from this crooked generation. So he says the promise of God's Spirit is to everybody, but your first obligation is to save yourself. Listen, y'all, the desire to save everybody is a symptom of poor boundaries. Boy, this is a nugget right here. Man, I wish I had time to deal with this. I might have to do a part 2 and just deal with this way right here. Are y'all listening to me? Those of you people who try to save everybody, that's a symptom of poor boundaries. If you are trying to save everybody, if you are trying to save everything, that's a symptom of poor boundaries. Your boundaries are not in line. Your boundaries are not in line. If you find yourself trying to save everybody, you can't save everybody. You can't save everything. I know I've been one of those people. I've been one of those people who felt like he could fix everything, who felt like he could save everything, who felt like he could stop everything, who felt like he could keep things from happening, until one day it hit me. You know what? Can't save everybody. Because in the process of trying to save everybody, in the process of trying to save everything, guess what ends up happening? You end up losing yourself. And some of you have lost yourself. You've lost your identity. You've lost who you are because you have been trying to save everybody else but you. And in the process of trying to save everybody else, you have literally ended up losing yourself. This is powerful here. I could literally do a series on this one point. Many of you have lost yourself trying to save everybody. And you cannot lose yourself in the process of saving everybody else. And people who do this typically have poor boundaries. You got poor boundaries. If you're one of those people where you're trying to fix everybody, you're trying to correct everybody, you're trying to save everybody, you're trying to adjust everybody, you trying to do all this stuff, you have poor boundaries. You have poor boundaries. You're one of those people that's trying to get closure and everything. You need people to apologize to you in order to move on. You need people to admit their part in order for you to move on. You got poor boundaries. If you're waiting on people to give you closure, that's a poor boundary season. Closure doesn't belong to other people. Closure belongs to you. You're responsible for your own closure. Come here, 22-piece wearers. Those of you that wear 22 pieces. Did I get that right? Is it 22 piece? Those of you that wear 22, y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't. And I know I got some hairstylists in here. Our brother Eric is on here. And I got some hairstyles on. Is it 22 piece? Is that what you call it? Those of you that wear 22 pieces? Let me just give you a basic, easy example to make this make sense, because that's what I do. It's my gift. A good weave is pointless without a good closure. It's not 22 piece. That ain't it. What is it called? A 20. What is it? A 20. It's a 20 something piece. What is it called? Somebody just told me that ain't right. Is it called a 22 piece? Is anybody going to answer my question? 27 piece. It's a 27 piece. It's a quick weave. Bundles. I'm getting bundles. I'm getting 27 piece. I'm getting quick weave. 27 piece. So it's 27. It's not a 22 piece. It's a 27 piece. So 22. Oh, I get it. I got a PhD. I'm smart. So 22 is a quick weave because you ain't got all the pieces. Is that how that works? All right. There. I see hearts. I must be getting it right. Yeah. Everybody's correcting me on 27. Right. So 22 is a quick weave because you're missing pieces. Is that right? Y'all see how smart I am? 22 is a quick weave. A 27 is the full set. I got you. All right, I won't forget that. 27 piece. So think about a 27 piece. A good weave, even if it's a 27 piece, a good weave is pointless without a good closure. Y'all ever seen people have good bundles, but their closure was horrible? Are y'all listening to me? Have y'all ever seen? Now, I ain't no hairstylist. I can do Giselle's edges. I can plait, if they still use that phrase, plait. I know how to do that. I can't do hair, but I can do her edges. I am a dad girl. I can do her edges. But have y'all ever seen a really good quality weave, but a bad closure? Listen, it is not the weave's responsibility to give you the closure. This is a word, man. I done gave y'all a word off of weave. I can make anything make sense. Did y'all hear what I'm saying? This analogy, it is priceless. They not feeling this, but this analogy is priceless. When you buy that 27 piece, it don't come with the closure. It ain't the 27 pieces job to give you the closure on your head. That beautician, whoever's putting that thing on your head, or if you're doing it yourself, it is your job to give yourself the best closure you can give. And some of y'all are buying weaves and expecting the closure to come with it. Some of y'all have bought situations in your life and you are expecting the closure to come with it. I'm here to tell you, there's some situations you're going to go through, you ain't going to get no closure. I'm trying to, I just, man, this right here is a word. Are y'all listening to me? So ain't the responsibility of the 27 piece to give you closure. You get that 27 piece. It is your job to make sure you got good closure. Because if not, you can have a good weave on your head and bad closure and it tear up the whole look. You didn't spend $500. Is that a decent price on a good weave? $500, about $600. I heard, good bundles run you about $500 to $800 from what I heard. Right? Yeah, I'm dark skinned now. For whoever that is moderating this one, trying to class, it's got to be Sister Carissa, probably. Right? You can spend $500, $600, $700, $800 on a good 27 piece, but if that closure bad, baby, you just spent a whole lot of money on the weave, but you got poor closure. And you thought, oh, I spent $500, $800 on this weave. The closure ought to come with it. It don't work that way. And this is how closure in your life works. Some of y'all are trying to get closure from external sources. People have offended you, and you have been walking around waiting for them to apologize. And I'm here to tell y'all this, and this is going to sound rude, but hear me in love as much as you can, because this is going to be blunt, but it's going to be straightforward. Some of you are walking around waiting on apologies you will never see. Some of you are going to die before you get an apology. I'm going to say this again. Some of you have been offended by people, and you are literally going to die before you get the apology. Did y'all hear what I said? Some of you are going to die before you get the apology. I don't know who's offended you. Could have been friends, family, co-workers, whatever. It don't matter. Some of you going to die before you get the apology. Before you get the closure, you're going to die first. So here's the best thing I suggest you. Instead of waiting on closure to be external, learn how to get your own closure. Know that you ain't been called to save nobody but yourself. Yeah, it requires a little bit of selfishness. It requires a little bit of putting you first. It requires a little bit of taking a couple of steps back and realizing that your life matters, that what you need matters, that what you ain't been getting matters. People gonna talk, especially if you've always been a giver. I'm especially preaching to you givers now. Because see, when a giver starts to set boundaries, they get called selfish. Did y'all hear what the old man said? When a giver starts to set boundaries, they get called selfish. Up to that point, they never were. Up to that point, they were never considered to be self-centered. Because all they were doing is giving. So then when you decided to put a boundary on your giving, when you decided to put a boundary on your life and start doing for you and looking out for you, all of a sudden you selfish, you self-centered. Been there, done it. Had the manual, can write a book about it. But hear what I'm saying. There is an element of selfishness that's required in order for you to have proper boundaries in your life. And that's okay. Set them. And when you start to set those boundaries, then when people offend you, you don't look for them to make it right. You don't look for them to make it better. You don't look for them to fix it. No, you get your own closure. You get your own closure. You don't wait for people to get you closure. You get your own closure. Because again, a good weave is pointless without the closure. Way number 5. I'm almost done, y'all. I got to hurry up because it's 10:18 and y'all not going to make me out a lie. I did say 10:15, 10:30. I did say that, did I? So I got to hurry up. This blessing anybody? If it is, fill it up with hearts. Is this blessing anybody at all on this great Super Sunday? Is it blessing anybody? Fill it up with hearts. Let me know. Way number 5 to reset boundaries is this. Manage your appetite. Way number 5. The 5th way you can reset your boundaries is manage your appetite. I'm going to give you the verse. I don't have time to deal with this. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12 through 13, New Living Translation. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12 through 13, the New Living Translation, gives us some biblical context for managing our appetite, and it really deals with temptations. Temptations without boundaries can cause dysfunction. Temptations without boundaries can cause dysfunction. It is normal and natural to have temptation. If you are not tempted and say that you're not tempted, you're a bald-faced liar. Everybody has temptations. Everybody is tempted in one way or another. Everybody is. But understand this, temptations without boundaries will cause dysfunction. It's okay to be tempted. You're going to be tempted. If you're human, you're going to be tempted. But hear me, if you get tempted and you don't have no boundaries, you're going to be a raggedy mess. You're going to be a raggedy mess. You are going to be a raggedy mess if you are tempted, but you have no boundaries. Because if you're tempted and you don't have boundaries in your life, you're going to say yes to everything. You're going to say yes to all kinds of stuff. And let's face it, y'all. Let's just be honest. When you're tempted, sometimes you say yes to stuff you should not say yes to. Come on, you got to be grown. You got to be a grown man, a grown woman to admit that sometimes you get tempted and you say yes, and you know you shouldn't say yeah, but you say yeah anyway. But you don't say yes to everything. And I'm here to tell you, when you have no boundaries in your life, you're more likely to say yes to almost anything. When you have boundaries in your life, it don't mean that you won't sometimes say yes. I'm giving y'all an honest word. It don't mean that sometimes you won't say yes, because it doesn't mean that sometimes you won't fail. You're going to fail sometimes. You're going to fall sometimes. Even with boundaries, you're going to fail. I know no other preachers ever told you that. But even with boundaries, you're going to fail sometimes. Even with boundaries, sometimes you're going to fall. But listen, with boundaries, you shouldn't fall every time. You shouldn't fail every time. And that's what boundaries do. Boundaries say, listen, I'm giving you a fence. Go back to the fence analogy. If you got a fence in your yard and you got a dog in your yard, it don't mean that the dog ain't gonna get out the fence. This is so easy, y'all. Are y'all listening? Are y'all following me? If you got a dog in your yard, a Cujo, you got Cujo in the front yard, and you got well, Cujo's a bad example because Cujo was getting through cars. So that's a bad example. You got German Shepherd. You got Pit Bull. That's a better example because that Cujo was something else. You got a Pit Bull in your front yard, and you got a fence up. That fence doesn't mean that the dog ain't gonna get out the fence. That fence is a safeguard to minimize the chances that it will. The fence doesn't mean that it is the end all be all, because the fence can be open. Y'all are not catching this analogy. The fence can be open. The fence, most fences have openings. A fence can be open. If a fence can be open, though the fence is a boundary, the fence isn't 100% fail proof, which means you can have boundaries in your life and still fail. Is this making sense to anybody? You can have boundaries in your life and still fail. You can have fences in your life around areas of your life and still fail. So if the fence can't guarantee that a pit bull can jump over it, jump through it, whatever, boundaries don't guarantee that you're going to always pass every temptation, because you're not. Some temptations you're going to fail. So I know, I'm telling you right now, don't even set yourself up for disaster. Some temptations you're going to fail. There are going to be some temptations that's going to get the best of you. And you're going to have to look up and say, God, the devil won this round. Y'all ain't going to be honest. How many of you have ever had to look up and say, God, the devil won this round? He won. I'm being honest. Anybody ever had to admit that? See, it takes spiritual maturity to admit that sometimes the devil won. Sometimes he won. You were tempted. You had up boundaries, but the dog still got through the fence. Are y'all listening to me? You had up boundaries. I see Nick talking about money. You have boundaries in your spending. And you set spending limits, and you created budgets, and you had alerts on your cards, and you had apps you put in place on your phone to stop you from spending. And then the Labor Day sale hit. The Labor Day sale hit and you went right on in the store and exceeded your spending limit and had to look up at God and say, devil won this round. It don't mean you didn't have boundaries. You had boundaries. You set up a budget. You set up spending limits on your card. You had alerts. You had all of that stuff in place. But boundaries don't necessarily stop temptations. You can't stop a temptation. You have to manage them. Now, I know that sounds like blasphemy. Oh my God, this pastor said, I cannot stop a temptation. I can only manage them. Prove to me that you can. You don't stop temptations because you can't control them. You don't control the Labor Day sale. The Labor Day sale is coming whether you want it or not. Is this word making any sense? Come on, let's use this finance. Let's use Nick's example with money. If Nick is setting up boundaries in her spending because she wants to spend better. I got 1024, y'all. I'm about to be made a liar again. I got to hurry up. And she's setting limits in her spending. She can't stop the Labor Day sale. She can't stop scrolling online and then her app reminding her that that Express got a buy one, get four free sale. She can't stop that. All she can do is manage her appetite. All she can do is try to manage her spending. All she can do is try to manage it by putting up boundaries. That's all she can do. But she cannot stop a temptation. Somebody put fighting temptations like the movie, right? Like you can't stop it. All you can do is manage it because temptations are going to come. They're going to come. All right. So you have to try to manage those. And this is important. The Jesus prayer, the prayer that we repeat, the Lord's Prayer, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. It is something we don't want to be led into temptation. And our prayer has to be, don't lead us there. It is not, and stop temptation and deliver us from evil. Why? Because you can't stop it. It's a rollie, not a stopwatch. It don't stop. You can't stop temptation. You can only manage it. All right. Way number 6, and I'm done. I got to hurry up. Yeah, these are some powerful analogies today. I'm telling you, it's always like this on holidays or short Sundays or Sundays where we have, low people because people traveling away, and that's fine. It's always like that. All right. You didn't have to do me like that, Pat. I'm sorry, Sister Washington. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's me. Go in the store, get one shirt. That's it. Exactly. And you had that in your mind and you didn't set the spending on, and before you know it, you in the store, you done went into the app and you didn't up the spending limit in the app so you can spend your money. You didn't up the limit in the app on your card and you didn't took the block off so that you can spend. I've been there. I've been there. Right. So you can have boundaries even in your spending and still exceed. Them new Yeezys come out tomorrow. Exactly. Lord, see, there you go. Talking about the new Yeezys. Look at this. Way number 6. My friend get me in trouble on Instagram talking about the new Yeezys come out tomorrow. See, some of us going to be in trouble. Straight up. Way number 6. 6th way to reset your boundaries, and I'm done. Know who and what you have been anointed for and make better choices. Know who and what you have been anointed for, then make better choices. Let me say that again. Know who and what you have been anointed for, then make better choices. I know y'all pray for Pastor, so my mouth is just so crazy. Know who and what you have been anointed for, and then make better choices. All right? You want to reset boundaries in your life? You want to set better boundaries in your life? Know who and what you have been anointed for, and then make better choices. You will live in misery, y'all, trying to force a people you ain't been called to. You will live in misery, y'all, trying to force things with folks you ain't been called to. Some of y'all trying to force friendships that don't belong to you. Some of y'all trying to force business connections that just don't make sense, and you're trying to force it. Stop. Know who and what you have been anointed for, and then make better choices. Then make better choices. If you want to know who you've been anointed for, if you want to figure that out, you can look at who's attracted to you, and you can look at what attacks you. This is the last bullet I'm going to make today. If you want to know, Pastor, how do I know what I've been anointed for? How do I know who I've been anointed for? Anointed meaning purposed, right? Let me explain that for people that don't understand what the word anointed means. Anointed means purposed, right? It is your purpose, your assignment. When you say you have been anointed for something or anointed to do something, you've been purposed to do something. Your life's assignment has been to do something, right? So if you want to figure out who you've been anointed for or what you've been anointed to do or what you've been purposed to do, let me just use that word so it's easier for those of you that don't know it. If you want to know what you've been assigned to do, what you've been purposed to do, here's the easiest way to figure it out. Look at who's attracted to you and look at what attacks you. See, I know my assignment. I know my purpose because I know what attracts me, what's always attracted to me. And I understand well what attacks me. And when you know what attacks you, when you know what ails you, when you know what is attracted to you, you can identify your purpose because your purpose is created to address the things that are attracted to you, but it's also created to fend off the things that attacks you. Did y'all hear what I said? Your purpose is designed to address the things, the people that are attracted to you, but it's also designed to fend off those things that attack you. That's what your purpose does. So when you figure that out, you want to know what you've been anointed for. If you want to know what you've been purposed for, look at who's attracted to you and look at who's attached. Look at who's attracted to you and look at who attacks you. It's so important. Look at who or what is attracted to you because it ain't always just people. Sometimes it's things. Look at who or what is attracted to you. Look at who or what attacks you. That's where your purpose is. And when you find that, you can reset boundaries. This makes sense, y'all? I'm done. I got 10:30 on the dot. I'm supposed to be done with everything, so I did better. Y'all leave me alone. All right? This blessed anybody? If it did, I want you to put in the comments. Let me know. It blessed anybody. We're getting ready to pray. I'm ready to pray with you, for you. I want you to go ahead and get your prayer requests in the comments, y'all. I got to try to get off this line in 5 minutes. We're going to do this fast because it's Labor Day weekend. I know many of you are out of town. Many of you have actually reached out, asked me to pray for you as you are traveling and things like that. You've inboxed me, and I really appreciate that. I like to be covered when I go, and certainly really respect those of you that want to be covered. So I appreciate you doing that. I never ask where people are. I hope you've enjoyed yourself this weekend and really had a chance to rest. So I know many of you are traveling and many of you are tuned in right now. I know at least 3 of you right now are on the beach right now watching. And I really appreciate you just taking time to tune in. Listen, you got a prayer request, type it in the comments quickly. Come on, type it in the comments. I want to pray for you. I want to pray for you this week. I want to pray for your circumstance this week. I want to pray for your situation this week. This morning, I slept a little bit later, got up around 6:30 this morning. But Monday through Friday, especially, I'm up 4:15. I get up, pray over your prayer requests. I want you to know that I'm praying for you. If you've got a prayer request you can't put in the comments, email it to info@rehabcc.org. Email your prayer request to info@rehabcc.org. But I want to pray for you. I want to pray for your situation. I want to pray for your circumstance. I want to pray for whatever it is that you're going through this week. This week is going to be a phenomenal week, I believe, for you and your family. And I want you to know that I'm going to be praying for you. So drop your prayer request in the comments quickly. Come on, y'all. I'm giving y'all 30 seconds. We got to do this fast. Drop it in the comments so that I can pray for you, so that I can pray for your situation, so that I can pray for your circumstance and pray for everything that's going on. Absolutely. I am praying for your family. I'm praying for those of you that say pray for myself. I believe in that as well. I've been praying for myself as well, praying for that self-control, calmness, so powerful. Praying, and that's a really good one for all the cities that have flooded. I'm certainly praying for those cities in the Gulf area, and then those cities that are coming up through the East and the Mideast. Certainly praying that God would cover them. I'm praying for those of you that are back in school. Certainly the tragedy that were impacted, those that were impacted by the tragedy here in North Carolina, in Winston-Salem, the shooting there. Certainly praying for that family and the parents of all the children that go to that school. Praying for just all of you, that God keeps you all lifted up in a special, special way. Thank you so much. Praying for your daughter. Thank you for praying for me and my family. I appreciate that. Certainly praying for those of you that are seeking peace and strength. This is a good one as well. Health and abundance. Such a powerful prayer that God will continue to cover you. Y'all keep them going. Come on. I give you a 15-second extension. Type it in. Type in your prayer request really quickly. If you've got a prayer request that nobody again can see, you can email your prayer request to info@rehabcc.org. Do it quickly because I want to pray for you and I want to pray for your situation. All right. I want to pray for you. We know that prayer certainly works. Connect your hands like this as a sign, symbol of faith. Pray with me. Let's do it. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you for this word. Thank you for this time of sharing you've given us. I pray that something was said or done that has challenged somebody, convicted somebody, encouraged somebody to live for you in a much better way. I pray, God, that this word on boundaries will cause us all to consider and reconsider the boundaries we have in our lives, to reset those boundaries so that we can become everything that you call us to be and more. We want to do that, God, and we know that you're able to bring us there. So help us, God, to reset those boundaries, to reset the priorities in our lives so that we can be everything you've called us to be and more. Now, God, every prayer request that's been lifted up to you, we lift it up to you, knowing that you can answer those prayers, that you can make ways as only you can. God, speak to the needs of your people. I pray that you would make this week a week filled with miracles and open doors and made ways, unseen miracles coming and invading the lives of your people. I pray now, God, that you would bless your people that are tuned in today as only you can, not just in material ways, but in mental ways, emotional ways, spiritual ways, financial ways, that you would bless your people as only you can, and that you would literally continue to open the floodgates of heaven and pour out blessings on them like never before. We thank you for these things, and we count them done in Jesus' name. Amen. Listen, I want you to type in the comments if you prayed with me. It is so. Do it quickly. It is so. 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 Such powerful prayer requests that are coming through. I'm absolutely praying for you, your children, this virus. So many young people now, kids are getting this virus left and right. I'm praying that God covers all of our children, all of your children, during this COVID season. Come on, type it. It is so. It is so. If you prayed this prayer of faith with us, type it is so. It is so. As you're typing it, if anybody wants to be saved, if anybody wants to dedicate their life to Christ, Romans 10:9 tells us that if we confess with our mouths, believe with our hearts that Jesus Christ is who he is and did what he did for us, we are saved. Salvation is a matter of confession. Today, if you want to be saved, you can be saved right where you are, right in your living room, right in your car, right on the beach. You can be saved right where you are if you're willing to just confess that Jesus is who he is and repeat this simple prayer with me. Listen, if you want to be saved right where you are, if you're watching live or you're watching the replay, I want you to stop what you're doing. I need your undivided attention. I want you to stop what you're doing, and I want you to repeat this prayer of faith with me. If you want to be saved, say this with me. I'm a sinner. I am not perfect. I have some flaws. I've made some mistakes. But I do believe that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin, lived on this earth just like I'm living. He suffered, bled, and died on the cross. But 3 days later, rose again for my sins. Because he lives, I can live. And I am saved. My friends, if you prayed that prayer of faith with me, I want you to know that God saved you today. He saved you. And I'm so excited for this new chapter in your life. Now, there's a number of things I need you to do. Number one, if you prayed that prayer of faith and you are saved today, shoot me an email. Email me at info@rehabcc.org. I know this is off the grid for my moderator, so y'all forgive me. But email me at info@rehabcc.org. If you've been saved through this broadcast, if you dedicated your life, just shoot me a note and let me know. I want to congratulate and celebrate this accomplishment with you. All right, just shoot me a note. Hey, Pastor, I dedicated my life to Christ today. I want to thank you for that. That's all you have to do. I want to know that. And because it's always a blessing to hear that people have dedicated their life to Christ through this broadcast and the messages that they've received. So shoot me a note. Secondly, find you a church home somewhere. Doesn't matter where. Find you a church home. Doesn't matter where you live. That is a Bible teaching, Bible preaching church. There's a community-based church that believes in the word of God, but also believes in balance. Find that church and dedicate your life, your time, your talents, your treasure to that ministry. And watch God begin to then bless elements of your life in only ways that he can, right? It's one thing to say we love God. It's another thing to spend time with him. And we spend time with him. One way we spend time with him is through church. It's through connecting with other believers, whether it's in a virtual environment or it's in a face-to-face environment. So find you a church home somewhere and be a part of that ministry, all right? And then here's the third thing. If you like this ministry and this ministry has been a blessing to you, we would love for you to call Rehab home. We would love for you to do it. Many people have joined our ministry in the virtual environment. It has just been a phenomenal thing to watch, something I would have never seen years ago. But it's funny how COVID turned out to be one of the greatest blessings of this ministry. And so I want to challenge all of you. If you're looking for a church that you can call home, I would love to be your pastor in this season. If you are, just simply type in the comments membership, hashtag membership. Just type in the comments, hashtag membership. And one of our moderators will reach out to you, get some information from you, and would love to welcome you to not the largest church on the planet, not the loudest church on the planet, not the biggest church on the planet, not the church with the most praise breaks. But I can guarantee you it is the nicest church on the entire planet. Because above everything else, we believe in treating people right. It's so important. By this shall all men know that you're my disciples, and that is by how you love other people. And so if you're looking for a church where you can be loved on, I want you to type membership in the comments, and somebody will reach out to you, get your information. We would love to welcome you in. All right. Listen, y'all, it's giving time. Let me challenge you quickly. It's Super Sunday. I want to challenge all of you to consider being a part of our Super Sunday seed. We saw a $99 first Sunday seed every first Sunday. And I want to challenge all of you to do that. I want to thank all of you that gave our the anniversary seed in August. Really appreciate you doing that. It's been really helpful for us. Bills have not stopped even in this virtual environment. I wish they have, but they have not. And so it's been certainly a blessing to all of you, or a blessing to us for all of you that have given the way you have. But I want to challenge you today to give. You can give one of three ways: via CashAPP, $REHABCCGIVE. That's $REHABCCGIVE. You can give on our website, www.rehabcc.org. That's www.rehabcc.org, and choose online giving. Or you can text REHABWORKS. Text REHABWORKS to 88202. And right to your cell phone, you will see a prompt. You click on that link and you can give right from your cell phone and be a blessing to us that way. All right. Again, the three ways you can give: CashAPP, $REHABCCGIVE. That's $REHABCCGIVE. You can give through our website by visiting www.rehabcc.org. Or you can also give by phone by texting REHABWORKS. Text REHABWORKS to 88202 and right to your cell phone. You'll see a prompt. Follow those prompts and you can give right from your cell phone and be a blessing to us. And we know that if you do it, God's going to bless you. How? Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. He's literally going to bless somebody to be a blessing to you because of the way you have given. I'm a living witness of that. This was a tithing week for me. Got paid Tuesday. And the first thing that I did was cash out my tithes. I believe in the importance of giving. And God has blessed Pastor in such a tremendous way because I don't just talk giving. I give. I believe in giving and the importance of giving. And I want to challenge all of you to do that today and watch God be a blessing to you in a tremendous way. Do me a favor, like this video, share this video if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube and all of our networks, and then tag 5 people. Tell them to go back and watch this video. And I promise you this message will bless them in a tremendous way if they do it. And then y'all do me a favor, make plans to meet me this Tuesday for Bible study, 7:08 p.m. right here at the Rehab Christian Center. Have a powerful word for you. May spend some more time on some of this boundary setting is what I think I'm going to do after today. What a powerful word today. But meet me Tuesday, 7:08 p.m. sharp, and prepare for a life-changing word this Tuesday at Life Study. All right. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Enjoy your Labor Day wherever you are. Be safe. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. And if nothing fails, I'll make plans to see you this Tuesday, 7:08 p.m. All right. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you for watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encouraged, enlightened, and empowered you to be better. Please tune in Tuesday at 7:08 p.m. for our life study experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful